This workshop focuses on preparing you to serve as the president of your PTA, developing your leadership skills, and providing information about the many resources available to you. This workshop is intended to give you the tools you need to have a successful tenure as president. It will cover: what are the basic duties of the president? What resources are available? What are some tips for building your team? What can you do to plan your year? What you should know about membership, parliamentarian authority, conducting a meeting, and money matters. According to the bylaws, Article 10, Executive Board, Section 9A, describes your duties as a newly elected president. The newly elected president, no later than 30 days after the election, shall call a meeting of the newly elected officers to appoint a parliamentarian and all standing committee chairs subject to the approval of the newly elected officers, and conduct any other business as shall become necessary. After this, all meetings shall be of the entire Executive Board as defined by the Executive Board article. According to the bylaws, Article 10, Executive Board has the description of your duties as president. Section 9B says the president shall 1. Coordinate the work of this PTA's Executive Board and committees in order that the purposes may be promoted. 2. Preside at all Executive Board and membership meetings. 3. Confirm that a quorum is present at all meetings of the membership and Executive Board before conducting business. 4. Confirm secretary and parliamentarian are present at all meetings and appoint temporary replacements when necessary before conducting business. 5. Not vote unless vote will change outcome to make or break a tie or vote is by ballot. 6. Appoint the chair of each standing and special committee subject to approval of the Executive Board unless otherwise provided in these bylaws. 7. Be authorized to sign on bank accounts and access accounts electronically unless prohibited by terms of employment. 8. Be authorized to sign contracts, Executive Board approved contracts. 9. Be listed as the principal officer and be authorized to sign tax documents unless prohibited by terms of employment. 10. Appoint a member, subject to the approval of the Executive Board, who is not authorized to sign on the bank account to review each account statement and complete the statement review by non-signer checklist. 11. Represent the local PTA as a delegate to the Council PTA. 12. Appoint the Financial Reconciliation Committee as outlined in the Fiscal Accountability article. And 13. Served as an ex officio member on all committees except nominating and financial reconciliation committees. All of these duties can begin to sound overwhelming, but remember the A in PTA stands for association. Remember that word, because it should remind you that you are never alone in PTA. You will have the support of your Executive Board members, as well as your entire membership. You only need to ask for help, and you will find it on your local campus, as well as in the support system of the Council, Texas, and National PTA. You've become president, so let's talk about what your first steps are. You will need to call a meeting to fill any officer vacancies not filled during the election and appoint standing committee chairs. This meeting should be within 30 days of the election meeting. Check with the nominating committee for suggested names. Any officer vacancies are filled by an election of the Executive Board, and appointments of the standing committee chairs are approved by the Executive Board. You may need to conduct other business, such as preparing a budget and approving a fundraiser. Executive Board members officially take office at the end of the fiscal year. However, some business cannot wait until you take office, as your Executive Board members may leave for summer vacations on the last day of school. Careful planning is essential. You'll want to choose leaders with skill sets to match their responsibilities. Remember that this is a good training opportunity to develop new leaders in your PTA. They need to be willing to learn as a team. All chairs must be willing to attend training. Don't automatically reject an individual simply because he or she is new to PTA or has no experience in that position. Make sure to distribute any procedure books you have received from last term's Executive Board. Knowing what has been done in a position prior to you taking that position is one of the benefits of working within PTA. These documents allow continuity from one year to the next. If procedure books have not been maintained in your PTA, start the tradition right away. The Executive Board will need to review and approve all plans of work prior to any work beginning. The Plan of Work form is available for download at the Texas PTA website. Each Executive Board member presents a written plan of work for approval by the Executive Board at the first Executive Board meeting of the new term. An example President's Plan of Work is available in the President's Resource Guide. Building your team takes time and work. Don't rush. You can fill your Executive Board as you find the right people. Remember that everyone comes in with different ideas and backgrounds, and that those differing perspectives are what will make your team successful. Get to know your prospective team members. You'll want to select and place the right person in the appropriate job. Make sure the position they fill fits their experience. Are they committed to the task of continuing self-development and meaningful change? Do they communicate effectively? Your board members should be able to work with others to accomplish the desired goals regardless of any difference of opinion. Think about the different types of committees available. Is the committee they serve on a standing committee or a special committee? Which one fits their expertise, knowledge, resources, and schedule? Begin the year by setting ground rules or norms that everyone agrees on and commits to following throughout the term. Leaders are vital to every organization. They add strength by serving as the link between various levels of the organization and other volunteers. Recognize talent and potential in your leaders. Good leaders are willing to expose themselves to new situations that provide opportunities to gain new knowledge and to test and stretch the limits of their abilities. Respecting all opinions is crucial to creating a good relationship with your board members. Good leaders communicate effectively and allow a free exchange of information and thought. They also respect different experiences and successes, rewarding success, no matter how you do it. A personal thank you, a note thanking them for a successful event, recognition in your newsletter, or at a PTA meeting, it's important to recognize achievements. Organizational skills are a must. Good leaders exhibit a capacity for organizing chaotic situations, have a strong sense of independence and individual initiative, are highly sensitive to time problems, and have developed techniques for effectively managing their use of time. Let's talk about planning your year. Understanding the PTA's relationship with the school is critical. The PTA does not run the school, and the principal does not run the PTA. Educate your principal on the mission, purposes, and values of PTA. PTA leaders should receive no special treatment due to their position, so it is important to remember the chain of command: the teacher, then the principal, then the superintendent, and then the school board. Invite the principal to your meetings and explain that they are a member of your executive board. Consult with the principal on all plans and communications. In most school districts, the principal must approve all communications before distribution. Attend any meetings between the chairs and the principal. Make it easy on the next president by establishing a good rapport with the principal. Build the relationship between the principal and the PTA president. Call a meeting with your principal after your election. Discuss the partnership between the school and the PTA. Talk about your work habits and schedule. Determine the best way to communicate in person, phone, or email. Keep an open door policy. Discuss how you will handle communications coming from the PTA to the parents. Discuss any problems in general and how you can present a united front during the next year. We also suggest that you make a procedure book for your principal because they are a member of your executive board. It should contain the following: bylaws, calendar of meetings, both executive board and membership, copy of the budget, Texas PTA Principals Quick Reference Guide, executive board roster. As a member of the PTA's executive board, your principal is required to listen to the short, about 20 minutes, principal training at least once. While continuing to plan your year, it is important to schedule a summer planning meeting. It is important for you, as a president, to plan prior to the meeting and let each executive board member know what they are to bring to the meeting and that they are expected to attend. Examples of what they should bring are ideas for the year, open minds. This is a time when the board comes together and brainstorms ideas they wish to accomplish for the year. Your PTA should come to a consensus of at least one goal by the end of the planning meeting. Make sure your goal or goals are SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, time-bound. The board should adopt the goals and communicate them to the membership so they can be a part of the project and support them. Delegate. It is important that you share the workload with the other members of the executive board and develop future leadership. Make them feel needed by giving them responsibilities and making sure they understand them. Match the skills to the person. Let them do the work, but remain available as a resource. Be open to all opinions and ideas. Be positive and supportive as they work, but remember, you are ultimately in charge. Check with them often. Let's talk membership. PTA is a membership association that advocates. Our membership number directly relates to the level of influence we have at the local, district, state, and national levels. The traditional time to recruit members is at the beginning of the school year, and it is natural that many of your activities should be concentrated then. However, members may join the PTA at any time during the year, and your recruitment activities should be year-round. Our membership year is August 1st, July 31st. There is no extension of membership year for those who join late in the spring. You'll need to escrow dues until August 1st for members joining early at events like kindergarten roundup and 6th or 9th grade orientation. Members can join at any time. When new people move to your school, the PTA should welcome them and invite them to join. Also, some families might realize later in the year that joining the PTA is really something they want to do. You'll also want to make sure your PTA is on joinpta.org, so there is an easy online method for people to join. It's also the easiest method for your PTA. The members are automatically deposited into your MyPTZ free membership database account, and we send you your portion of the dues each month by ACH. If your PTA is not on joinpta.org yet, please complete the ACH authorization form as soon as possible. You can find that form on the joinpta.org FAQ page on our website at txpta.org/join-pta. Report members at least monthly. You are also eligible for membership awards each month. Membership cards are provided by Texas PTA to PTAs that have obtained good standing by the end of April 30th of the prior fiscal year. Additional physical membership cards can be ordered from Texas PTA by using the form located on the membership position webpage. Texas PTA's Back the Future Everyone campaign unites our PTAs, parents, school leadership, and community. It's mission-focused and inclusive. Download tools, including social media graphics and GIFs, customizable email signatures, fully customizable graphics with your school name and logo, and more. You can also use our People of PTA graphics or create your own. Everyone can back the future because anyone can join PTA. Now let's talk about meetings. There are 3 types of meeting groups. Executive Board. The Executive Board consists of the elected and appointed officers, the principal, and others that are listed in the bylaws. Often, the Standing Committee chairs are Executive Board members, and you may also have council delegates, teacher or faculty representatives, student reps, or others. The bylaws state that regular meetings of the Executive Board are held prior to each regular meeting of the membership. Committees. 2 types of committees exist in PTA. A standing committee works throughout the year, while a special committee has a specific task and is dissolved once that task has been completed. Examples: a program committee works year-round, whereas a nominating committee is elected, completes the slate, and dissolves after the election. Membership. In these meetings, the local PTA members, those who have paid their dues, direct the organization's work. Each PTA must select at least 3 months in which to hold membership meetings, and those months are listed in the bylaws, making those meetings required to be held. There are 2 types of meetings. Regular meetings. These meetings are the membership meetings set by the bylaws and the executive board meetings set at the beginning of the year. Special meetings. The rules for calling these meetings are set by the bylaws. Special meetings of the executive board or the membership can be called by the president or by a majority of the executive board members with at least 3 days' notice given to either the executive board members or the membership. You must state the purpose of the meeting in the notice, and only the items listed in the notice may be discussed. Virtual meetings are now allowed in your bylaws. Article 8, Section 2 for membership meetings, and Article 11, Section 2 for executive board meetings have all the necessary guidelines to host virtual meetings. Let's cover a few of the highlights. All membership meetings may be virtual, with the exception of the first meeting of the year and your election meeting. Those two must be in person. Each virtual membership meeting requires a 10-day notice, with a 5-day notice if you change the date of the meeting. Attendees must register no later than 5 days before the meeting so that you are able to verify membership for voting purposes. The meeting technology must allow each member to communicate with all the other members attending the meeting. The best practice is to have everyone muted and allow them to unmute when they need to participate in the meeting, like asking a question. All executive board meetings may be virtual with the exception of the first meeting of the year and one additional meeting. You must have at least 2 in person. Each virtual executive board meeting requires a 3-day notice, with a 3-day notice if you change the date of the meeting. In order to have a virtual executive board meeting, you must ensure all executive board members have access to the meeting technology. Remember to check your bylaws for additional requirements before hosting virtual meetings. Also, remember to consider your community and executive board members when making decisions about which type of meetings to have. Each community will have different needs, so make sure you're getting feedback on what works best for your campus. Meeting notices can be very confusing. We created this chart to help you understand what is required and when. Let's talk about in-person membership meetings first. Regular membership meetings are held in the months listed in your bylaws. At the beginning of each year, you should establish the date, time, and whether it will be virtual or in person with the approval of the executive board, and publish that information to your members. If you need to change those dates, you'll need to give your members at least 5 days' notice. A new addition to notice requirements is that if you have a virtual meeting scheduled that you want to move to an in-person meeting, you must also give your members a 5-day notice so they can adjust their schedules to attend in person. Special membership meetings require a 3-day notice to your members. Next, let's look at in-person executive board meetings. While many PTAs hold these monthly, they are required to be held at least before each regular meeting. You'll want to establish a schedule of these meetings, and if they will be in person or virtual at the beginning of the year, and make sure each executive board member has the schedule. If you need to change those dates, you must give your executive board 3 days' notice. Again, the new notice requirement is that if you have a virtual meeting scheduled that you want to move to an in-person meeting, you must also give your executive board a 3-day notice so they can adjust their schedules to attend in person. Special executive board meetings require a 3-day notice to your executive board. Now for virtual meetings. For membership meetings, they require at least 10 days' notice, whether regular or special, with a 5-day notice if you want to change the date. Executive board meetings require at least a 3-day notice, whether regular or special, with a 3-day notice if you want to change the date. Let's start with the agenda. You'll need to determine the business to be conducted. Check with the officers and chairs to see who has reports or items that require a vote. Review minutes with the secretary to see if any unfinished business is pending. Determine any special orders as determined in the bylaws, such as the requirement to elect a nominating committee. Once you've determined what business needs to be conducted, you'll write your script. The President's Resource Guide has a build-a-script that suggests language for many potential agenda items. It's the best place to start when building your own script. If you have questions, you'll want to consult the parliamentarian. They can help with things like the order of business and the proper wording for an item of business. Make sure you prepare for special circumstances, such as the election of officers. Let's walk through a membership meeting agenda. Call to order. The president, as the chair, stands and calls the meeting to order. The president should declare whether or not a quorum is present, so both the members are aware, and the secretary notes the fact in the minutes. Always start on time. If the secretary and/or the parliamentarian are not present, the chair appoints members to perform those responsibilities for the meeting. Opening ceremonies are optional. If an invocation is offered, the national anthem is played or sung, and the Pledge of Allegiance is recited in opening ceremonies, they should always be in that order. That is, the invocation first and the pledge last. Introducing guests is also optional. Introduce guests in the order of rank: National PTA, Texas PTA, Council PTA, and Local PTA. Then introduce other guests like campus or district administration. Minutes. The chair recognizes the secretary for the reading of the minutes. The secretary stands and either reads the minutes, announces that a draft of the minutes has been distributed, or announces that the minutes were approved by the committee. The chair can either accept a motion to approve the minutes, either as presented or as amended, or use unanimous consent, which is if there is no objection. For the current meeting, the chair may allow the membership to approve the minutes at the next meeting or appoint a committee to approve the minutes. Committee approval is recommended when the length of time between meetings causes concern for accuracy, or they are needed quickly, and committee approval is required for the last meeting of the year. Minutes are presented at every meeting unless they were previously approved by a committee. If the minutes have been approved by the committee, the chair should state that the committee has approved the minutes from the prior meeting. This should be stated in the minutes. Minutes should always be available to members upon request. Financial report, or the report of the treasurer. A financial report is not optional and must be presented at every regular executive board and membership meeting. The period covered should be from meeting to meeting, not from the first of the month to the end of the month. The treasurer reads the financial report, which includes at least the beginning balance, total income, total expenditures, and the ending balance. The beginning balance should match the ending balance from the previous report. The chair states that the report is filed for financial reconciliation. Letters or communications. Any relevant letters received are read to the members. Report of the executive board. A summary report, not the minutes, is read for the members' information. This report should include any resignations and appointments of board members. Recommendations in the form of motions are voted upon one at a time. A motion from the executive board does not require a second. These motions may concern budget amendments or any actions that the board deems necessary for the membership to approve. Reports of officers. The chair calls for any officers who have reports to provide those reports to the membership at this time. An officer report does not include a motion unless action is required. A motion from an officer requires a second unless coming from a committee. If the motion was voted on by the executive board, you may want to present it during that report. The chair need not recognize the officer if there is no report. Reports of standing committees. The chair calls for the report of the committee, not the chair's report. A report from a committee may be informational or require action, as determined by a majority vote of the committee. Reports with information only are read to the voting body. Those reports requiring action are presented as a motion to the membership, no second required, and the members vote to approve either as presented or amended or rejected. Any items brought to the executive board for a vote first may also be presented to the members in the executive board report. The member, usually the committee chair, presenting the report, moves the adoption of the motion. The president conducts the vote on the motion, not the committee chair making the motion. If no recommendation is made, no motion is needed. The chair need not recognize the committee chair if there is no report. Reports of special committees. The reports of special committees follow the same rules as those of standing committees. If no special committees exist, this item of business does not appear on the agenda. Unfinished business. The chair announces but does not call for business under this item. Unfinished business consists of business left unfinished at the previous meeting or business postponed to this meeting if the group meets at least quarterly. The minutes of the previous meeting should indicate any unfinished business. You will always know if there is unfinished business, so if there is none, it does not need to be on the agenda. New business. The chair calls for new business. Members may bring any new business before the association if it is within its scope. A motion is necessary to introduce new items of business. Program. The chair recognizes the program or parent education chair who introduces the program. The chair does not turn the meeting over to this chair. The chair remains in control of the meeting from the call to order until adjournment. The chair may announce with the membership's consent that the meeting will be adjourned immediately following the program. Announcements. The chair should, if possible, make all announcements. Announcements include the date of the next meeting, important events and activities, etc. Adjourn. The chair asks if there is any further business. If any additional business exists, it is handled at this time. If no further business exists, then the chair declares the meeting adjourned. No motion is necessary to adjourn. The Executive Board meeting agenda would be very similar, except with the Executive Board report and program removed. Let's dig a bit deeper into parliamentary procedure. Parliamentary procedure is important for many reasons. It protects the rights of all members, promotes fairness and equality, provides basic rules that govern all. The authority of the association lies in the bylaws, any other adopted rules, and Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. The president needs to be familiar with parliamentary procedure, not just the parliamentarian. Let's begin with the basic method of conducting business, with a motion. There are 8 essential steps to a main motion. Obtain the floor. Member rises and addresses the chair and awaits recognition by chair. Assigning the floor. The chair recognizes the member and assigns the member the floor by speaking the member's name or nodding to the member. Making the motion. Member introduces the motion by stating, "I move that." Seconding the motion. Another member seconds the motion by saying, "I second the motion," or simply second. Remember, by seconding a motion, the member is merely agreeing that the motion should come before the assembly, not that he necessarily favors the motion. Stating the motion. The chair states the question on the motion saying, "It has been moved and seconded that." Discussion or debate. The chair calls for remarks by asking, "Is there discussion?" and recognizing the maker of motion as the first speaker, or by asking, "Are you ready for the question?" Vote of putting the question. When debate seems to have ceased, the chair says, "The question is on the adoption of the motion. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no." Announce the vote. The chair announces the result of the vote saying, "The ayes have it and the motion is adopted," or "The noes have it and the motion is lost." What is quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of members who must be present at the meeting in order to conduct business. A meeting can be called to order if there is not a quorum. Reports can be presented, announcements can be made, but no action can be taken without a quorum. Meetings for the Executive Board and committees are managed in very similar ways. For both the Executive Board and any committee, an individual can only serve in one position. An Executive Board member may temporarily serve in another position while trying to locate an individual to fill the vacancy, but they may only vote in the capacity of their elected or appointed position. Remember, there are no co-officers or co-chairs. The quorum for both types of meetings is a majority of the filled positions. For example, if there are 25 positions on the board, but only 12 positions are filled, then the quorum is 7. In the case of committee meetings, the president serves as an ex officio member of all committees except the nominating and financial reconciliation committees. This process allows the president to be informed about all decisions made in committees and to provide continuity. What is an ex officio committee member? An ex officio member can make motions, debate, and vote, but is not counted in the quorum. Remember, a committee is composed of more than one member. There is no proxy voting in PTA. An executive board member must be present in order to participate in the meeting. The quorum for membership meetings is stated in your bylaws. The minimum required by Texas PTA is 10 members, but the exact number is determined by each PTA. Again, there is no proxy voting. Since a quorum must be present before any action is taken, and the president is responsible for confirming that a quorum is present before conducting any business on the agenda, and this is recorded in the minutes. Minutes are taken at each executive board and membership meeting and are approved at the following meeting. A committee can be appointed to approve the minutes, but they must each sign them to be official. From the executive board, only recommendations go to the membership, not details of the entire meeting. These recommendations are to be adopted by the membership. Programs are a member benefit. They must support the mission and purposes of the PTA. They can provide parent education and information necessary for raising happy, healthy children. Programs bring the home, school, community, and place of worship closer together for the benefit of all. They should provide content that adds value to the meetings. Program topics and presenters vary. They may be presented by a teacher or administrator, an outside agency, a community group, etc. The topics should be relevant to the issues facing parents and students today. PTAs should survey their parents and teachers to determine their needs. Programs should provide a service. PTAs have been providing this type of information for more than 100 years. Programs are a member benefit. Remember the fundraising 3-to-1 guideline. While fundraising is often necessary in order to further the work of your PTA, you should have only one fundraiser for every 3 programs. Consider parent education, family engagement, and advocacy efforts when you think about programs. Connect Texas PTA has a new series of parent education programs for your PTA to use free of charge. They are short videos with subject matter experts on timely topics that are important to parents. We have mental wellness for both primary and secondary students, cyberbullying, human trafficking, cybersecurity, college readiness, and more. Go online, txp.org, for more information and to request a program at your campus. Follow the money. Every executive board member should be knowledgeable about the PTA's financial responsibilities. This is basic financial information that every executive board member needs to be aware of. There is so much more involved in the PTA's everyday financial management, but these are the basics. For more detailed information, see www.txpta.org/treasurer. Fiduciary responsibility in a PTA means the executive board members act as trustees of the organization's assets and must exercise due diligence to oversee that the organization is well managed and that its financial situation remains sound. The executive board also verifies that all filing requirements and tax obligations are completed. The budget creates the framework for program management and overall administrative decisions. An approved budget must be in place at all times for expenditures and fundraisers to be made. Let's look at the budget process. Form a committee to develop the budget. Consult your bylaws and standing rules for committee composition. The treasurer is the chair. If completed, use the approved plans of work and adopted goals as the basis for the budget. If not yet completed, you can use the budget from the current year to help set the budget for the next fiscal year. The proposed budget is presented to the executive board for discussion. They then approve it and recommend it to the membership for approval. Present to the membership for approval by a majority vote at the annual last meeting. The budget can be amended at any time after adoption. You will present the budget amendments to the membership for approval by a 2/3 vote. Here is an example proposed budget. The goal is for all of the income to balance against all of the expenses. In this case, the $3,000 cash balance forward from the previous fiscal year, when added to the income or receipts, equals $19,125. Then the expenses, when added to the $2,750 cash balance forward for the next fiscal year, also equals $19,125. This example can be found in the Treasurer's Resource Guide at txpta.org/treasurer. Fundraising. The primary emphasis in PTA should focus on promoting the PTA mission, vision, and purposes, not on fundraising. Every PTA should begin the year with specific goals aligned with the PTA's mission before deciding the funds needed to accomplish these tasks and which fundraisers will work best. PTA should raise only those funds necessary to meet the needs of the year's activities and projects as outlined in the budget. Financial reports. To keep people informed, a current financial report is presented at every regular executive board and membership meeting. As the funds belong to the members, they have the right to access the financial reports presented at membership meetings. Financial reports are filed rather than adopted. The reports are provided to the Secretary and attached to the meeting minutes, which are provided to the Financial Reconciliation Committee and maintained permanently. Setting up the account. The President and Treasurer are signers, per your bylaws, unless prohibited by employment. Check the standing rules to determine additional signatures. Bank statements should be opened and reviewed by a PTA member who does not sign on the account. There is a non-signer bank statement review checklist they should use found at the bottom of the President's page on the website. The original document will be given to and is kept by the Secretary, and the non-signer reviewer should retain a copy. The Treasurer should be given a copy along with the bank statement, and the Secretary will present the report at the next Executive Board meeting. If there are significant questions with the review, contact your Council Field Service Representative or Texas PTA for assistance. Financial transactions payments. Payments are never made in cash, and blank checks should never be issued. All payments must relate to an approved budget item and have a reimbursement form with a receipt and/or bill attached. No other organization may pass its money through the PTA account in an effort to achieve tax-exempt status, and money can never be turned over to the school and/or principal to spend at their discretion. Depositing funds. All monies collected are turned over to the Treasurer as soon as possible. Money is counted by at least 2 people at the same time, and both counters and the Treasurer each sign and keep a copy or an image of the completed Texas PTA deposit form. The Treasurer may be one of the 2 counters unless prohibited by the PTA's standing rules. All money should be deposited in the bank daily. Never deposit money in a personal account or leave the money in someone's home. Cash should never be taken from an event's collected money to pay expenses, reimburse individuals, or use as startup cash for a later event. E-commerce policy. A PTA's membership must vote to authorize one or more of the following e-commerce options: recurring payments, debit credit cards, and point-of-sale or online payment collection systems, and adopt the e-commerce policy found at txpta.org/policies. This policy can be annually adopted as a standalone policy or incorporated into the PTA's standing rules. Insurance. Operating a local PTA is much like running a small business. Businesses need insurance to protect their investment. The same is true for PTAs. Insurance is available in the following categories. Fidelity embezzlement bonding is recommended to protect your money. Event general liability to protect your organization. Directors and officers liability to protect your officers from accusations. It is in the PTA's best interest to cover the Treasurer and all other persons authorized to handle money to cover losses through any fraudulent or dishonest act. Insurance premiums are budgeted as an expense line. Property to replace PTA property if damaged or lost. Accident medical endorsement to complement your general liability policy. If you must choose only one, fidelity embezzlement bonding is recommended. Contracts. The President is the authorized signer on all contracts as approved by the Executive Board. Include your title as an officer in order to avoid personal liability. Financial reconciliations. The President appoints the Financial Reconciliation Committee at the annual meeting. The committee is composed of not less than 3 members. No one who is an authorized signer on any bank account may serve on the committee. The current Secretary, the incoming Treasurer, anyone related by blood or marriage to or resides in the same household as an authorized signer, or the current Secretary, are also not eligible to serve on the Financial Reconciliation Committee. The committee can also not be majority student members. The Financial Reconciliation Committee should use the checklist and form on the website. The committee presents the report at the first regular meeting, and the report is adopted by the membership. The committee will then review the findings and recommendations with the executive board at the first meeting after the membership adopts the report. A financial reconciliation must be completed at the close of the fiscal year, but it must also be conducted any time an authorized signer is added or deleted from any bank account. It is also required to be conducted at any time deemed necessary by the president or 3 or more members. For EOI and account signer change reviews, the Financial Reconciliation Committee provides the treasurer with a copy of the report immediately after the reconciliation and reviews the findings and recommendations at the next executive board meeting following the reconciliation. For a called review, the Financial Reconciliation Committee reviews the findings and recommendations at the first executive board meeting following the report to the membership. If theft, fraud, or embezzlement is suspected, the PTA is required by the bylaws to follow Texas PTA's theft, fraud, and embezzlement policy, which can be found on our website. If you have questions, please contact your council and field service representative. State sales tax PTAs are not required to pay Texas sales tax on items purchased for use in presenting programs or carrying on the PTA's work. When PTA members purchase items for the PTA, they present an exemption certificate to the retailer so that sales tax is not charged. The PTA does not need a sales tax permit to purchase items tax-free. The PTA must have a sales tax permit if the PTA sells tangible items such as handicrafts, candles, t-shirts, cups, books, and school supplies at times other than the 2 designated tax-free days allowed. There is no fee for the permit, and it remains valid until a request to cancel it is made by the PTA or canceled by the Texas Comptroller. Let's talk a little more about the designated tax-free days. 2 designated tax-free days, 24-hour periods per calendar year, can be approved and recorded in the minutes at either an executive board or membership meeting prior to a sale event. A tax-free sale must not be a year-long activity, such as a school store. The Texas Comptroller's Office has ruled that PTAs may consider advance order sales fundraisers as one of their tax-free days, provided certain criteria are met. 1. The PTA must submit all orders to the supplier prior to the delivery of the merchandise. 2. All merchandise must be delivered to the PTA by the supplier in 1 day. 3. The merchandise must be delivered to the purchaser over a reasonable period of time. Texas PTA recommends this period of delivery not exceed 3 weeks. 4. The tax-free day is the day of delivery to the PTA or the day of delivery to the customer if the delivery occurs in 1 day and not over a multi-day event. The PTA may decide which of the 2 options they prefer. The most common example for PTAs is taking pre-orders for t-shirts. All pre-orders are considered part of the tax-free day, but any additional shirts purchased to sell after delivery are not. A PTA can participate in the Texas sales tax holiday, also known as the tax-free weekend, and sell the items included in the sales tax holiday list on that weekend without needing to collect and remit sales tax. The list usually includes clothing and school supplies. This event does not count towards your 2 tax-free days. All PTAs are required to electronically file one of the following IRS 990 returns. 990N, very simple to complete. Gross receipts normally are $50,000 or less. 990EZ and Schedules A and O. Gross receipts are less than $200,000 and total assets are less than $500,000. 990 and Schedules A and O. Gross receipts are greater than $200,000 or total assets are more than $500,000. If your PTA files a 990N, proof of the accepted filing should be provided to the end-of-year Financial Reconciliation Committee. If your PTA files a 990EZ or 990, a draft of the filing should be provided to the Financial Reconciliation Committee. The 990EZ or 990 should then be immediately filed by the outgoing treasurer following the financial reconciliation. Regardless of which type of 990 is filed, proof of filing should be presented at the first executive board meeting of the year. For more information on 990s, see the Treasurer Resource Guide or visit txpa.org/treasurer. Communication is key to the success of any association. Be certain to follow your school district's policies on distribution and always get your principal's approval before anything is printed and distributed. Your website and social media are excellent ways to communicate with the entire community. Be sure to consult the social media policy on the Texas PTA website. Newsletters provide valuable information regarding the PTA, the school, and the community. Consider distributing them in various ways, such as print, email, and/or a website post. It is important to keep the content timely and engaging. Some tips are to use it for recognition and saying thank you, provide useful information, and report what events and programming have happened and what is coming up. Executive Board. Decide up front the preferred means of communication for the majority of the Executive Board members. You may want to set up a free Google account for nonprofits with folders for each Executive Board member. It is important to discuss the difference between disseminating information versus discussion emails and how you will differentiate the two. Discuss the importance of a quick response and determine as a group what the acceptable response time will be. Public relations. Become familiar with your school district's procedures for media contact and use. Keep in mind that the president is the official spokesperson for the PTA unless someone else has been designated by the president with executive board approval. The president should always be aware of any interaction with the media. The PTA president or designee may only speak officially on any potentially divisive issue after the PTA membership has voted on a position or if a Texas PTA or national PTA position or resolution covers the issue. It is important to remember that no one representing the PTA should express their personal opinion while using their PTA title or within a PTA communication resource. There are many opportunities available to our members and to our PTAs for recognition and assistance from Texas and national PTA. Here are just a few examples. They are constantly changing, so be sure to visit the Texas PTA and national PTA websites. Awards. Awards are a wonderful free way to recognize the accomplishments of your volunteers. Some council PTAs may also offer awards. Texas PTA has an honorary life membership award and extended service award you can award deserving individuals. National PTA has the Life Achievement Award. You can also create your own awards unique to your campus. Scholarships. Student and faculty scholarships are available from Texas PTA. Check for the requirements and deadlines on the website. Natural disaster emergency needs. Emergency needs relief for expenses such as hospital bills, medicines, etc. For individuals who are victims of natural disasters, catastrophic illness and accidents. Disaster relief. This is for a PTA that has sustained hardship due to a natural disaster. Grants. There are many grant opportunities for PTAs. Make sure you check Texas PTA and National PTA's websites and social media accounts often to stay up to date on new offerings. Some current ones are National PTA STEMS Families, National PTA Connected Program. National PTA has made applying for these grants extremely easy, so please don't let the fear of a typical grant application scare you off. Member benefits. Also, make sure your PTA members understand the discounts they can receive as a benefit of membership. The updated benefits are available on both the Texas PTA and National PTA websites. Check both websites because the benefits vary, and all are available to all PTA members. Texas PTA is committed to providing our volunteer leaders across the state with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed in their roles within PTA. Access to quality educational resources is a key component in supporting this success and continuing to build strong local and council PTAs. Both Texas PTA and National PTA have e-learning courses for our leaders. Texas PTA has a group of training known as Foundations. Foundations includes 3 different components. The first is Essentials. Essentials is a high-level orientation to PTA that is taken online via the Texas PTA website at www.txpta.org/training. It contains the mainstay information that every PTA leader should know. All executive board members, officers, and chairs are required to take this training at least once in their PTA careers. Leaders are encouraged to take Essentials, formerly Foundations Leader Orientation, again whenever the training is updated. Next is the Basics training. Basics courses are position-specific and contain detailed information to support PTA leaders in their specific board position. Every executive board member, officer, and chair must attend a basics course for their specific position every time they take on a new role, even if they've had that role in the past. Each basics course includes a workshop and companion resource guide, along with other supporting resources. These training sessions are available on demand, and resource guides can be downloaded, all on the Texas PTA website. Foundations also include spotlights. Spotlights offer a short, in-depth review of some of the specific yet important topics and recurring PTA functions, such as bylaws and standing rules, financial reconciliations, conducting meetings, and nominations and elections. They are free and not mandatory, but offer vital insights on specific and timely topics. Remember that both the essentials and basics are mandatory for all executive board members. We also have extra credit training. Just like extra credit assignments in a classroom, this training helps take the ordinary to extraordinary. Extra credit sessions are quick leadership development, off-the-shelf courses available to you when you need them. Each session offers tips and tricks for all of our PTA leaders to add to their toolkits. Some of our offerings are delegation is key, public speaking, leading versus managing, ins and outs of volunteers, and so much more. Additional sessions are continually under consideration, so be sure to share your ideas with us. Full Circle Leadership is Texas PTA's very own leadership development certification program. Looking at the mission, vision, and values of PTA from all angles, the portrait of a PTA leader was born. Full Circle is based on Texas PTA's leadership competencies. By focusing on the 5 key areas of technical, intrapersonal, forward-thinking, interpersonal, and adaptive skills, Texas PTA leaders are able to enhance their skills to become even more successful and effective. Recently, National PTA launched its new learning management platform, Thrive. Thrive offers an impressive array of online training through National's website. Officer and chair training is offered by Council PTAs or FSRs, usually in the spring and/or fall. It will contain classes relevant to the specific needs of your community. Texas PTA launch and annual meeting occur in July in various cities across the state. Offering over 100 great workshops, this is another great opportunity for newly elected board members to get training and information and to network with other PTA leaders from across the state. Texas PTA also hosts its annual meeting in conjunction with launch. Every other year, the Texas PTA officers and 4 directors at large are elected. National PTA hosts their convention in June in various cities across the nation or online. Training is offered on the national level, along with the official annual business meeting of National PTA and many networking opportunities with other PTA members from across the nation. You have many resources available to help you be successful. Bylaws and standing rules. Bylaws are the documents adopted by an organization which contain the basic rules for governing that organization. They are always superior to and supersede, overrule, the standing rules and parliamentary authority, Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. Always look first in your PTA's bylaws for an answer to any question, and then the standing rules if adopted, and finally in Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. Your bylaws provide the essential information for running your PTA. Read them thoroughly and become familiar with them. You must follow the bylaws at all times. Texas PTA provides the required template for all local PTAs. You can change only information specific to your local PTA. Texas PTA can make changes to the template with the approval of the Texas PTA Board of Directors. These changes become effective on August 1st of each year. It is critical that you request a copy of your current bylaws from Texas PTA after August 1st each year to make sure you have the most recent copy in effect. In addition to emailing your bylaws to you, you will receive a local PTA bylaws snapshot for a quick reference to those items that can be personalized to your PTA, such as the amount of your dues, number of vice presidents, meeting months, etc. Your PTA may have also adopted standing rules, which include the more procedural aspects of your PTA. If you have approved standing rules, they will be sent automatically with your bylaws request. Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. This is the parliamentary authority for all PTAs and is used to fill in the blanks for rules and procedures not covered by your bylaws or standing rules. Past President's Procedure Book. Hopefully, you received a procedure book from your predecessor. This is the collection of documents that explain what was done in the past. Activities, projects, programs, etc. It explains how things were done, if they were successful, and if not, provides recommendations for the future. This book can be very valuable to you as you begin your position on the board. If you did not receive a procedure book, begin one today. There is a complete overview of what this book should include in the President's Resource Guide. Every member of your board should have a procedure book for their position. Make certain everyone is compiling their books. Don't wait until the end of the year to verify that your executive board members are maintaining their procedure books. Check on them throughout the year by asking them to bring them to the executive board meetings. In addition to those documents, you also have additional support. If you are a member of a council, you should always start with your council PTA president when asking for help and support. If you are in a council PTA and don't know who your council PTA president is, call Texas PTA at 1-800-TALK-PTA and we will give you their contact information. If you are not part of a council, you have other nearby local PTAs that you can network with, discuss best practices, and share ideas with. Every PTA in the state of Texas has an assigned field service representative, known as an FSR. FSRs are members of the Texas PTA Field Service Committee and add an additional line of support. For PTAs without a council, they are your first line of support. If you don't know who your FSR is, call the Texas PTA at 1-800-TALK-PTA and we will connect you. The Texas PTA Board of Directors is yet another level of support for your PTA. The members' contact information is located on the Texas PTA website. Texas PTA also has staff that are available to help. These are paid individuals working at the Texas PTA office in Austin. Call 1-800-TALK-PTA. Your campus principal is the most consistent member of your PTA executive board. Work with your principal to develop a good relationship between the PTA and the school. Texas PTA's staff and volunteer leaders are here to answer any of your questions regarding your position. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope that this training has been beneficial and it will make your work in PTA easier and more enjoyable. If you have any questions in the future, please know that your field service representative and council leaders are always ready to help.